We also have all episodes up there to listen to, so you can stream or download from there. We are on iSubscribe. Leave a comment and a rating. A positive rating is preferred.
That would be good.
Yeah, if you've got a
reviews,
concern or something like that, there's other ways to get a hold of us so we can discuss it.
Send us an email. By the way, if they want to send us an email, is there a way to do that?
There is, and I'll tell them that in a minute.
Okay.
The other ways that you can listen to the episode, of course, are going to be on the streaming services, which there's a whole bunch of them. Google Play's out there, Stitcher, all these different apps for pulling them. So whatever you use it, enjoy it, subscribe, and if you can, rate through that. We are on social media, so we have the Facebook page and the Facebook group, both of which are really busy and having a lot of fun with. We are on Reddit, we've got the subreddit, and we are on Twitter. We are Thinking Sideways without the G in the middle. Devin's quite busy on Twitter.
I was yesterday. I was voted most patriotic podcast Twitter of ever.
Oh, you were?
I was.
I gotta see
by
that.
one whole person.
I saw some of those tweets. Those
They were good.
Funny. Yeah. It's pretty good. Now, Joe had mentioned how to get a hold of us, and that would be by email. The email address is thinkingsidewayspodcast@gmail.com. So send in if you got a concern about a story or you want to talk about a story, let us know. That's the way to do it. You can send us story suggestions, general accolades, anything like that. It all goes through there. We are also, the other thing that I want to tell you about is the ways to support the show. If you are able to and you would like to, and for everybody who has, thank you. We do appreciate it.
Yeah.
We have two methods of support. We have, actually, I guess three. But we have PayPal, which you can do a one-time donation of however much you're comfortable with. We have Patreon. We're on Patreon, which is patreon.com/thinkingsideways. Patreon is an ongoing donation, so it's per episode that we put out. You say how much you want to donate, and just be aware, it's by episode, and it also gives you the ability to limit how much you want to give in a month total, so it's totally under your control. And then the other thing that Devin was talking about is we have merchandise. So we've got both a Redbubble and a Zazzle store. So we've got t-shirts, mugs, stickers. I just put up a new illustration the other day.
I'm really excited about it.
So we are slowly adding things to that store. So that is all available to you. And other than that, I think that's all the administrative details I have.
Yeah.
That sums it up. Yeah.
All right.
So it's time for us to get out of here.
All right. Yeah, I gotta go work on my suntan. So, thanks, ladies and gentlemen, and we will talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Who?
What You Have to Understand. Hosted by Joe. Written by Joe. Podcasted by Joe. Investigated by Joe. Developed for television by Joe. What You Have to Understand. Brought to your ear holes by Joe. Thank Joe later. Cue explosions.
Hi there. Welcome to another episode of What You Have to Understand. I'm your host, Joe. And today we're going to talk about the unsolved murder of Ken McElroy. Ken Rex McElroy was a resident of Skidmore, Missouri. He died on July 10th, 1981 in front of the D&G Tavern on Skidmore's main drag. The cause of death was 2 bullet wounds from 2 different rifles, and to this day, his murder is unsolved. First, let me give you a little background on Ken and the events that led up to his death. Ken McElroy was a well-liked local man who loved kids and dogs and wouldn't hurt a fly. Well, okay, not really. Ken McElroy was actually a pedophile, arsonist, thief, and a whole lot of other things. He was a town bully, and he never hesitated to threaten or hurt anybody who got in his way. He'd shot at least 4 people, none of them fatally as far as I know, but there might have been other people that he did kill, but we don't know. He was just generally a violent, ill-tempered guy. Let me tell you about Skidmore, Missouri. It was a tiny town of about 450 people back in the early 1980s when Ken's murder took place. It's about 100 miles north of Kansas City. It's got 2 paved streets and no traffic lights. D&G Tavern was on Elm Street, just east of Smith Street. If you're on Street View looking at it, I'm sure half of you are. The D&G is that low white building with metal siding and blue trim. It's no longer the D&G Tavern, so the sign is gone, but the building, last I checked, is still there. Besides the tavern, Skidmore has a small mom-and-pop, the store's not there anymore. It had a small mom-and-pop store, a cafe, and a gas station. The gas station is also gone. I mean, it's still there, but it's no longer a gas station. They've kind of fallen on hard times. Apparently, they've lost some population. Anyway, let's get back to Ken. Ken McElroy was a one-man crime spree, and I think he had 2 real jobs his entire life, and he didn't hold on to those for very long. He mostly made his living by stealing stuff, and he always seemed to have a lot of money. And in fact, not long before he died, he bought himself a brand new Chevy Silverado pickup and paid cash for it. So apparently he was getting money from somewhere. His main specialty was rustling cattle and hogs, and after his death, local law enforcement noted that rustling in the county, and actually in all of northwestern Missouri, dropped way down. He did have one legitimate job, which was training and selling coonhounds, and I'm told that he was actually a good dog trainer. Too bad he didn't do that full time. Ken was the 13th of 14 children. He grew up poor. His family moved to Skidmore in the 1940s, about 175 acres of farmland with a house on it, about 4 miles southeast of Skidmore. So the house was, I think, 3 or 4 bedrooms, so it was probably kind of crowded in there with 14 kids and 2 parents. Ken took up stealing animals before he was 18. He bought an old Ford sedan, took the back seat out, reinforced the floor with plywood, and he added a switch so he could shut the brake lights off, and then started going around at night stealing hogs all over the northwest corner of Missouri, and sometimes he'd venture as far as Kansas and Iowa. Later on, Ken had enough money to buy himself a horse trailer, and he started stealing cattle and sometimes horses. When Ken got caught stealing, and he occasionally did, he would use violence and threats to keep himself out of jail. There was one time a farmer caught him stealing 2 horses, and the farmer reported it to the police, and he filed charges. So Ken McElroy went to see the farmer, and basically with a rifle, and butt-stroked him in the face with it. The farmer dropped the charges, and so Ken got off again. Ken married his first wife when he was 18. She was 16, but being married didn't stop him from philandering. When he was 20 or so, he started dating a 13-year-old girl named Donna, who eventually got pregnant and gave birth to a boy. By the time that this kid was born, Ken was dating a 15-year-old girl named Sharon, and they had a rocky relationship. They were having an argument. He shot her in the neck with a shotgun, which didn't kill her, but it did leave her with scars. And eventually, Ken divorced his first wife and married Sharon. And yes, you heard that right. The guy that shot you, you married him. Sharon wound up having 2 kids by Ken, a boy and a girl. By the time the girl was born, Ken McElroy was regularly beating her, and he'd found himself a new girlfriend, a 13-year-old named Sally. This was around 1961, so Ken would have been about 27, dating a 13-year-old. Eventually, Ken moved Sally into the farmhouse with him, his parents, his wife Sharon, and their kids. Sally had 3 kids, and Sharon had 2 more. Ken wound up having a lot of kids. During this period, Ken was also seeing another underage girl named Alice Wood. In 1964, he left the family and took up with her. He beat her, got her pregnant, etc., the usual stuff, and eventually she left the farm with her son and moved in with her mom and stepfather in St. Joseph, which is a town not too far away. Ken McElroy called the stepfather, whose name was Otha Embry, and said he was coming to get his son and that he would kill anybody who got in his way. Embry told him to pound sand. McElroy shows up not long after with a rifle, and he shot Embry in the thigh through his living room window. McElroy was arrested for felonious assault, but there was no case without Embry's testimony, so he started calling Embry and threatening him to kill him, his wife, his kids. He also followed him in his car. He'd drive slowly past his house, or sometimes park outside. And finally, Ken McElroy found Embry in a bar in St. Joe and threatened him with a knife. When that didn't get results, he left and went to his car and got a shotgun, came inside, shot the floor by Embry's feet, and Embry still refused to drop the charges. So Ken stormed out. He wound up getting arrested, but the charges were dropped because none of the people in the bar would testify against him, so I'm assuming he had a chat with all of them too. Otha Embry eventually dropped his felonious assault charge. I'm assuming that he thought that Ken would probably kill him if he didn't, so probably best to do so. Not long after this incident, Alice came back to live on the farm. But by this time, Ken McElroy had a new girlfriend, Trina McLeod. She was 12. Ken was in his mid-30s by this time. She got pregnant at age 14 and moved on to the McElroy farm. And of course, Ken was abusive and violent with both Alice and Trina. And at one point, they took their kids and left him and went to stay at Trina's parents' place. McElroy went and got them and basically forced them to come back to the farm. He beat Trina so badly he broke her nose and cheekbones, and then he got himself a can of gas and made Trina go back with him to her parents' house. He went inside, splashed gasoline all around, and torched the place. And then they headed back home. At this point, you're probably wondering, why hasn't somebody shot Ken already? Other people wondered about that later. After Ken's death, the local Church of Christ minister, Tim Warren, said to a reporter, and I quote, "My only regret about what happened to Ken Rex McElroy is that somebody didn't kill him sooner," unquote. You got that? Town minister is glad he's dead. Oh, back to our story. Anyway, Trina had to go to a doctor for her injuries. He was so appalled he called juvenile authorities because, that's right, at this point, Trina was still technically a child. She and her son were put in foster care. McElroy was facing charges of rape, arson, and brandishing a deadly weapon. Ken was facing a little legal trouble by this point, but then his lawyer went to work. His lawyer, Gene McFadden, once said that Ken McElroy was his favorite client because he was punctual, he always paid cash, and he always came back. And you can certainly see why. He used his usual strategy of getting court delays and continuances, basically strung it out so long that after a while Trina came back. She got bored with being in foster care. And so she returned, and Ken McElroy divorced his wife Sharon and married Trina so that she couldn't be compelled to testify against him. And she also signed a statement saying that Ken McElroy was guilty of nothing and that she'd been lying before when she said that he had been beating her and raping her and committed arson. So that kind of got him out of that squeak. The next major incident was in 1976 when McElroy shot a neighboring farmer named Romaine Henry. He shot him twice in the stomach and the head with a shotgun. Luckily, most of the shot didn't actually hit Henry, and the gun was loaded with birdshot too. He had to go to the hospital. McElroy was arrested, and once again, his lawyer went to work and got the trial delayed until 1977. In the meantime, McElroy harassed Henry by driving slowly past his house or parking and shining a spotlight into his windows. Somebody, I'm guessing Ken McElroy, put sugar into the gas tanks of Henry's tractors. At the trial, his lawyer, Gene McFadden, produced two witnesses who swore under oath that they had been with Ken McElroy at his house at the time of the shooting. So he got off again. And then time goes by. There were, of course, all kinds of minor incidents, but the next big one happened in April 1980. This was kind of the beginning of the end for McElroy. Two of his daughters went into the B&B store, which was just around the corner from the D&G Tavern. It was owned by Bo and Lois Bowenkamp. The oldest McElroy daughter, Debbie, was a teenager. She bought cigarettes and cookies, and on their way out the door, the younger one, Olita, who was 5, grabbed a few pieces of candy from a rack. When the store's clerk said something about the candy, Debbie grabbed it from Olita, threw it back into the rack, and stomped out of the store. A little later, McElroy and his wife Trina, who was by this point about 25, the Bowenkamps and their clerk, and finally Lois Bowenkamp had had enough. She told them to leave the store and never come back. Nobody in the McElroy clan was welcome in the store anymore. Well, that didn't set well with Ken McElroy. Another campaign of harassment and intimidation started. He once again would drive slowly past their house or park outside their house. One night he got out and fired a shotgun into the air. 2 days later he came back and fired the shotgun again, twice this time. This kind of stuff went on for months. And then one night in July 1980, Bo Bowenkamp, by the way, did I mention he was about 69 when this happened? He was on the loading dock at the rear of the B&B store when Ken McElroy drove up in his pickup. He got out with a double-barreled shotgun and shot Bo in the neck. Bo survived. McElroy was arrested, again, by a state highway patrol officer and taken in. He posted bail and began a campaign of harassment against the officer and his family. Also, the local minister fell out of favor with him. The minister went and saw Bo Bowenkamp in the hospital, and also wanted to see Lois Bowenkamp to just give her a little support. When McElroy found out about this, he was upset, and so he started harassing Tim Warren. He told him at one point on the phone that he was going to castrate him and then cut his little boy to pieces in front of him. So Tim Warren, and did I mention he was a minister? Yeah, he started carrying a gun. The officer's wife, remember that patrol officer I talked about, started getting threatening calls. His daughter worked at a store in Maryville, which is a town not too terribly far away. Ken McElroy got into the habit of showing up at the store, and he'd load up a shopping cart totally full of stuff, wheel it over to her checking station, and once he'd start ringing stuff up, he would walk out of the store. Meantime, his lawyer kept getting the trial delayed, so McElroy had lots and lots of months to threaten Bo and Tim Warren and everybody else. He would sit in the D&G Tavern and talk openly about killing Bo. He would also sit outside the B&B store in his truck and scare away customers, and the B&B's business did drop off by quite a bit. Eventually, the trial finally happened. On June 25th, 1981, McElroy was convicted of second-degree assault, and he was sentenced to 2 years in prison. But the law allowed him to remain free during the appeal process, so he was still free to walk around. 4 days after that, McElroy was in the D&G Tavern when Trina walked in with an M1 Garand rifle with a bayonet on it and handed it to Ken. At this point, Ken actually was not supposed to be in possession of a gun because of the terms of his bail. He was essentially out on bail during the appeal thing. Ken McElroy chambered around and started making jabbing motions in the air with the rifle and his bayonet, saying he was going to shoot Bo Bowenkamp in the face with it. And a local farmer named Pete Ward left the tavern with his sons at this time, and shortly after took up station on the road between the D&G Tavern and Bo Bowenkamp's house. And he had a rifle. He said his plan was to kill McElroy if he was headed over to the Bowenkamp house. And luckily for Ken McElroy, he didn't head that direction when he left the D&G, so he lived for another day. Okay, I mentioned already that McElroy was out on bond and he violated the terms of the bond with the rifle. The prosecutors filed a motion to revoke that bond, and a hearing was set for July 10th. That was, of course, the day that Ken got shot. A bunch of locals showed up in town that morning to drive over to the town of Bethany, which is where the hearing was going to take place. Their plan was to support the witnesses who had actually seen the rifle brandishing. When they showed up, they found out that McElroy's lawyer had gotten the hearing postponed for 10 days. Needless to say, that was upsetting to everybody. Everybody went over to the American Legion meeting hall nearby, and they called the county sheriff and asked him to come by. He showed up about 20 minutes later and advised everybody to keep an eye on McElroy and keep a call list so that if Ken showed up at somebody's house, then they could summon help from others quickly. And then the sheriff got in his car and left town. Around this time, McElroy and Trina arrived in town and went into the D&G. Word got over to the guys in the meeting hall, and somebody said, "Let's go have a beer." The crowd headed over to the D&G, and they found Ken and Trina drinking a beer. And I don't know if Ken was intimidated or not, but I hear Trina was. McElroy finished his beer, bought a six-pack to go, and left. At about the same time, 2 or 3 people were outside forming an action plan. Reports vary as to the number. These guys got rifles out of their trucks. Remember, this is farm country, so people are driving around with rifles in their pickup trucks. The crowd in the D&G followed Ken McElroy out into the street. Ken got into his truck and started it, and then a number of shots rang out, 2 of which hit Ken McElroy, 1 in the neck and 1 in the head. And he went off to that big trailer park in the sky. His foot stomped down on the gas pedal and stayed there. The truck basically sat there running at full throttle for a little while until it finally seized up and quit. And about 45 minutes later, somebody got around to calling an ambulance. Now, here's our mystery. At least 24 people were there on the street in Skidmore that morning. And according to some accounts that I've read, there may have been as many as 60 people. But nobody saw the shooters. So this one is a real head-scratcher. How could it be that Ken McElroy was gunned down in broad daylight by 2, maybe 3 guys in front of dozens of people, and yet nobody happened to notice who pulled the triggers? Well, there are some theories out there. But before we start discussing our theories, I'd like to introduce a couple of guests. My guests are Steve and Devin from another podcast. Guys, come on out.
Hey, Joe.
Hey.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah?
Fine.
Okay. Oh, cool. So you guys are on a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were
That's
just
not
there
important. All right, let's talk about theories. Okay. Well, the theories that have been floated. First theory, UFOs. What do you guys think about that one?
It's always the aliens.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as you know, when alien abductions happen, they're always accompanied by memory loss. So I'm thinking that perhaps there was a UFO nearby blasting the town with brain-wiping rays at the moment that shooting was taking place.
Well, I mean, here's the dealio about that. It's silly. I mean,
It's a little
somebody
hinky.
would have remembered it.
Well, one person actually did claim to remember it.
Oh.
Yeah, that was Trina.
I'm sorry. I read the Wikipedia page on this thing. I didn't do any any research further than that. I actually just skimmed that summary at the top. That's all.
I know.
So
That's pretty much all you ever do. I know.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
So the one person who witnessed it was Trina, who said she saw Del Clement, who was co-owner of the D&G Tavern, pulling a rifle out of his pickup truck. She was sitting inside Ken's truck at the time, so what I'm thinking happened is maybe the metal in the cab roof was shielding her from the brain-wiping rays.
Oh, from the UFO. Oh, the UFOs wiped the brain waves. They didn't have anything to do with the actual murder.
Yeah, no, they're just that's our mystery here is how could there have been no witnesses?
But here's the dealio with that is people put on the tinfoil hats, but the roof of the truck doesn't work as a tinfoil hat because it's got windows all around.
That's fair. All right, let's talk about our next theory. Our next theory, squirrels. There are squirrels in Skidmore, and a lot of people did say something on the order of they were looking at the squirrels and didn't notice the two guys with rifles.
Because they're, what, obscenely cute?
Well, they are cute. I like squirrels.
They're little chupacabras.
Nah, no, they're not.
Yeah.
All right, so squirrels. Devin, you got any thoughts on squirrels?
They're cute.
They are cute. Oh. Okay, let's move on. Our next theory. Ergot. This grain mold causes hallucinations and such. I've talked about this before. It's everybody's favorite go-to theory for things like the Mary Celeste and everything else.
Well, here's what you have to understand.
Hey, that's mine.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. So did the town share a common bread source? I mean, were they all eating the same bread?
Well, they were buying their bread at the B&B store, so yeah, it's. I think very likely the supply was tainted by ergot, and they were all high as kites and not really in a position to remember their own names, much less who killed who. Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Well, ostensibly, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna go with squirrels. You guys have a favorite?
I think that dude was just a huge and everybody wanted him dead.
That's a little out there, don't you think?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think you're reaching on that one.
I'm sticking with squirrels. Yeah. In the aftermath, just about everybody in town was interrogated by the police, and no one saw a thing.
It is totally
Later on, the
like
FBI came in and they took a stab at it.
I'm very uncomfortable with this situation.
Hey, I'm talking here. This is my show, remember? All right, let's get back. Oh yeah, the FBI. Yeah, the FBI. Nobody saw a thing. Once again, various grand juries looked into it. They declined to indict anybody, despite Trina's claim that Del Clement was one of the gunmen. For his part, Del Clement said, "Quote, boys, I wish I could say I'd done it, because he sure had it coming, but I didn't." Unquote. Now I'm taking his word over Trina's. I think she must have hallucinated that. But there was another local named David Dunbar who told reporters, quote, "To be honest with you, my only regret about the way Ken Rex died is that I didn't pull the trigger myself," unquote. So ends the story of Ken McElroy, killed by invisible gunmen. All right, at this point in the show, this is when I tell you where to find me, find my email, find my Facebook, and all that stuff. I'm not going to go through all that. Just Google the most awesome guy in the world. You'll find me. Now you guys had something. You wanted to talk about your podcast a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
well, since you left us, we have to do a new one.
So we've been working on some material.
Yeah, so
we brought that. You said
I forgot to tell you that on my way out the door, I stole a tape that had a lot of embarrassing moments on it.
Great.
Oh no.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, your lives are over. Cue explosions.
Oh no, your book.
My little black book.
Your little black book that ruins everything.
Some people have little black books with, names and phone numbers in them. Mine are full of all these weird details about crazy cases.
It's going to be awesome when you die and somebody finds that.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, wow, this dude was crazy.
Yeah. Where'd you get that? I need to get one of those.
I think I got it at Powell's.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. No, it's got little illustrations of shootings to try and figure out angles and stuff in it. I
my
you not.
God.
It's all in there.
Okay, let's do this thing.
Okay. Well, okay.
Well, okay.
Well, all right.
Okay then, Stevie. Whatever you say.
But until 19,000, or until 19,000.
Until 19,000.
Yeah, okay, let's try that again. Until 2000.
Talk really fast.
Really, really, really fast.
Yeah, no fussing around.
What I want, what I really, really want.
So tell me what you want, what I really, really want. I wanna, really say, if you wanna be my lover. You can't start Spice Girls and not expect me to go with it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I thought he was the royal consort.
Prince Philip is the royal consort.
Consort. Yeah.
Concert.
He's the royal consort. It's the greatest show on earth. Pyrotechnics galore.
Encore.
No,
So it's that was response to what?
It just says, can't wait for the Thinking Sideways 100th podcast.
Oh.
I'm already hyped.
Okay.
Y'all gonna make me
Okay, you guys ready?
up in here, up in here.
Shouldn't have said
Y'all gonna
anything.
make me lose my cool. We're a family.
All right, you want to start the recording there?
Looks like we are
thank God
recording.
you are.
All right.
I know when I'm being hilarious.
Oh, not bashful about it either.
And humble.
Totally.
Okay. Let's assume it was an acular.
Acular.
An acular? I've never seen an acular.
Oh, I'm
Acular
so
nuclear.
worried about saying nuclear the wrong way that I'm just saying everything else the wrong way.
I'm host. I know.
I am host.
I am host. That's supposed to be like I am your host or something like that.
I am host,
No.
joined by Ed
Yeah.
and Bar.
Let's start over from the top. Okay.
Of this group is a man by the name of Shaozin Yamashita.
What is that? Yamashita.
It's Yamashita.
It is? I thought it was Yamashita.
Yamashita.
You remember Yamashita's Gold?
I do, but that's how she told me it was pronounced today. We'll just call it Yamashita. And
No,
Okay.
just call it Yamashita and
Yeah.
let it go.
Yamashita, that's fine.
in 1989, a Swedish immigrant.
Wait a minute. That wasn't 1989, was it?
No.
1898.
In 1998 on VH1.
On VH1,
Mm-hmm.
on my Super Sweet 16.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is tapping the cable.
Yeah.
It's rattling the connections. So no touchy.
I'll try. If I do it, I'll call it out.
This is fun.
Are you making music
Yeah.
or destroying our equipment?
Both. Why are they mutually exclusive, Steve?
Well, it's time for new gear anyway.
It's a very black and white world I live in, Devin.
Is it? Sorry to hear that.
Okay.
Sometimes I just like to hit record as soon as the mixer's plugged in, just in case. So that's been happening.
I know. I have noticed this. I'm okay with it.
Ma'am,
Yeah, I
yes.
found the female officers really appreciate it when you call them sir.
Yeah.
Usually how you end up getting beat up.
You want to compliment their breasts. I really.
You want to just be like, yeah, sir, no problem. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, officer. Wahooga, ooga.
It's just this.
The staring downwards.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh,
Oh my god.
Becky, look at her butt. It is so big. Looks like one of those rap guys' girlfriends, but I don't know. Who understands those rap guys? It's like a total prostitute, okay? I mean, her butt, it's just so big. And usually it's just so round, it's like out there and it's gross. Look,
This photo we
it's just so black. I like this stuff I cannot lie.
Sir Mix-a-Lot
You
Show?
can't deny.
I can't believe you knew that entire thing.
Oh, no, I know the entire song by heart.
So is that your favorite karaoke song?
I don't do karaoke, but
I think that you should karaoke
I
that.
do that song.
5 foot tall white woman
No, I do.
doing it. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Call me and let me know so I can videotape.
No, I do it. I genuinely, that's my favorite song.
Okay, can we start this?
Yes. And a lot of people believe that the Springfield 3's bottles are in that concrete.
With their bodies.
Not their bottles.
Remains. What did I said?
Said
bottles.
bottles.
You said bottles.
Yeah.
They're a slowly aging wine.
They are. At this point.
Yeah.
It's like when someone's trying to make themselves throw up where they're like, ugh.
Oh, okay.
And you're like, that's not gonna help you. Like, you just making a noise isn't gonna help you.
Yeah.
You sound like a stupid ghost.
Alright.
All right, sir.
Enough of that sneeze it.
All right, are you ready?
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Too spooky for me.
I know, seriously. I'll get my night law on it.
This is Thinking Sideways, if you didn't know, the podcast.
Can we start over again? I just buggered that all up.
What did you do?
He was going to say nightlight, and he said my night lawn.
Yeah.
My night lawn.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
stop.
So I'm just, yeah.
Okay, I'll start again. I save when I pause, sir.
Okay.
Gerard Croisset. Croisset.
It's actually Gerard Croisset.
Croisset.
Croissant.
Croisset.
Croissant.
Yeah.
Corset.
Please put this in bloopers somewhere. So people can hear how hard. So people can hear.
This is why I don't do accents.
I know. This is why people need to hear how hard we try. We're trying.
Yeah, I was able to find a pronunciation for this guy's name on the interwebs.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
let's
Let's
talk.
start talking about this guy.
Yeah, oh yeah, okay.
Croissant.
All right, we recording? Yeah, okay, good.
I like how sometimes, Joe, it's like when you take a bite of your chips in a quiet room and you go.
Well, you know, you get those people that sit behind you in the theater and they're unwrapping a candy bar and they're trying to do it ultra quiet.
Yeah, like you guys.
Don't you just want to like,
Yeah, I just want to grab it and just be like, no!
I know.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. It's okay, because this whole story is just a giant show. It is. The whole thing. That's why we're doing it.
It's a load of
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Guano.
Guano
It's guano.
Festival.
Guano Fest.
Do you want the map?
Ready?
Yeah.
Phone's on silent.
Testing.
Oh.
My phone is on Do Not Disturb.
Is Siri gonna come on again?
Hey Siri. I just like that two of the people are Beep and Meep.
Oh, no.
Sorry,
Actually, it's not beep, it's Bep.
I don't care. It's
Yeah.
Beep and Meep.
Okay.
Why
but-
don't you save that till we're recording?
Well, no, because I don't want to offend people, and I don't want...
I'm the mispronouncing offender. It's okay.
I know, but I'm just saying he's going to say it first. I don't want to be the one who's like, Beep and Meep, because I got in so much trouble about the offhand sneehaw mispronunciation. I don't want to, like...
Oh, that was why the whole brother versus her naming, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a microaggression, that's why.
Yeah, I'm really just racist.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
That's true.
Yep, wearing your wife beater.
Whatever you say.
Hang on, let me shift around over here. Okay. Ready?
You want to use a coaster under that thing, man?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're going to set it down. It's going to make a noise.
Like that.
Just like that. The son of the Poverty Island lighthouse said that he watched a salvage crew.
Wouldn't it be the son of the Poverty Island lighthouse keeper?
No. No.
Okay.
Glad I was not recording when we were talking about my boyfriend's gang initiation.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay.
Good. Let's go!
Okay. You alright? Okay.
No.
Wait.
Yeah?
Okay, here we go.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Who's on first? Who?
Damn it. Ah! What were you saying? Sorry.
I think with collective consciousness, it should just be an hour of silence, and if people can hear our thoughts, then great.
Yeah, I just want to collectively conscientize. Is that not the word? Collectively conscious-size.
Okay.
You are butchering
it's a word
the
now.
English language.
How do you say that? What's the, active verb of being conscious? To be conscious?
Conch
I guess.
So that's the infinitive of
It's
it.
conch.
So.
Like the shell.
Oh, it's like the shell. That's why you can hear the shell when you hold it to your ear. It's just everybody else's thoughts. You don't know how to interpret it. I am way too sober for that thought.
Or you are high as a kite, one of the two.
Drink
I
another
need to
beer,
get
huh?
yes. You know that? When somebody's high and you're like, how high are you? And their response is yes.
Yeah.
That's where I need to be right now. We should just get high and record an episode on collective consciousness. It's legal here. Stop looking.
I know. I haven't.
Okay, so let's maybe
Can
do
we
this.
please start?
Do you want me to pause it and save it and start it again?
Just go. Just
Okay.
go.
Pause.
Pause.
Pause. Boop. Okay, here we are. Ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
God damn it! Every single time it's gonna happen.
I know. We're just not going to get
It's
this.
like
Oh, before I forget, I'm sorry. This is one last thing. I promise, last thing. Just so you know, some of our listeners want us to release PG-13/R version of bloopers so they can hear how we actually speak. Just so you know. Just so you know. As a thought.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm willing to do that.
Boop.
Because I know you talk like a longshoreman.
Boop.
So do I.
that.
Oh! Not the balls! Not the balls!
Let's go.
All right. Yeah, but the Droida was a huge deal back in the 1920s, and of course, after the whole concept of Bermuda Triangle was floated,
The Johida?
Did I say what?
You said the Johida.
Did I say Droida?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, sorry. I bumped my microphone.
Mother-
No, I'm sorry.